Good day. My name is John Gregory Vincent. This is Introduction to Emotional Intelligence. If you look at the objectives for emotional intelligence, this is actually the first of a several-part series, but if you look at your screen, the information covered, the dynamics of emotional intelligence and how it can be applied in the workplace, managing your emotions under stress, and describe the importance of emotional intelligence to build rapport. Emotional intelligence is as critical as personalities. We often talk about the importance of not only knowing your personality and your personality traits, but the personality and the personality traits of other people. Why? For a very simple reason, and it goes back to Dr. Stephen Covey's habit. One of his habits is seek first to understand, then be understood. You can't possibly have the most effective conversation, particularly a crucial conversation, without fully understanding your personality and the personality of the person you're interacting with. This is critical, and you see this in synergetic teams. They really know each other. Another component of this is, as this slide says, understanding the dynamics of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is different than intelligence, the old IQ thing. Talk about that a little bit later. But essentially, if you're not in tune with your emotions, your feelings, and the emotions and the feelings of others around you, you will never have the most effective conversations. You have to be able to adjust and mirror. This isn't about being huggy. This isn't about being anything other than being effective. And you'll see that second point there, managing your emotions under stress. Remember the 3 points in crucial conversations, right? High stakes, potentially for high emotion, and varied opinions. Well, that emotional stress is going to be handled well or handled badly, both with other individuals or with groups, based on how well you deliver and how well you understand yourself and the group dynamic, and that's called emotional intelligence. The objectives go on for this webinar series to talk about adjust your style to mirror and match, recognize the benefits, increase the empathy level, understand the importance of the body language when communicating face-to-face, the 4 dimensions of listening. 4 dimensions of listening. Non-listening means, if I want your opinion, I'll tell you what it is. Selective listening, every teenager in America has a PhD in this. I sort of hear some things. I can go home early on Friday, and I kind of forget other things as long as the following work is done. It's called selective. Okay? The third mode of listening is evaluative listening. So what is evaluative listening? Those people that think they're good listeners, evaluative listening is you start to actually listen to the person. But then what happens? You start processing what your response is. You start deciding why they're wrong, why they're right, or what you want to say. If you don't cut them off immediately, you've already cut them off intellectually and emotionally. That's called evaluative listening. And then the last listening mode, which is absolutely critical to effective communication, crucial conversations, personalities, and today's introduction of emotional intelligence, is active listening, where you're actually paying attention to the other person, because you cannot seek to understand effectively without active listening. The first one I want to go back to as well. To read that again, adjust your style to mirror and match. People like to interact, and people trust people, quote unquote, like them. So when you modify your style, when you modify your emotional reaction and you control your feelings to parallel, to mirror, to mimic those of the people you're interacting with, this is not about subjecting yourself to someone else. This is not about not being true to yourself. This is about being effective. And we can talk personalities all day long, and we can talk crucial conversations all day long, and we do in other webinars, and they are critical for effective team and effective communication. But without this piece, without the piece of emotional intelligence, you have a problem. So I take a moment here and take a look at these slides. Again, the objectives here. Emotional intelligence. I'm not going to read for you. You simply read that. And I'll tell you a little bit about who wrote this quote after you read it. There might be some people that are listening to this webinar just via audio, so I guess I will read it now that I think about it. Yes, this is recorded live. The capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves and for managing emotions well in ourselves and in our relationship. Capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others. That is critical. You essentially have two halves of emotional intelligence, the self and then the social. The self, how aware are you of yourself? How well do you control yourself? The social, how well do you manage relationships and how aware are you of group dynamics and things like that. You'll see Daniel Goldman working with emotional intelligence. Daniel wrote this groundbreaking book, I believe it was 1996. It was all the rage in corporate America for about 3 or 4 years. And then, like a lot of things, it almost became flavor of the day, and it wasn't properly implemented, it wasn't properly followed up on, and it faded. But it has made a resurgence here, and the resurgence is because of what's written next. It's actually much more important than IQ. We all know brilliant people that cannot function in a group, that cannot be effective in a team, and certainly do not add to a synergetic environment. Not because they're bad people, because they're not in tune with their emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, referred to as EQ, is far more important than IQ. Far more important. I mean, it is good to have brainwave activity. I mean, you do need some level of intelligence. Remember, skill plus talent equals strength. So we're not discarding intelligence in the formula, but emotional intelligence is the secret sauce, if you will, of understanding personalities, of understanding the importance of crucial conversations. That's where the magic is. And that's what we'll be talking about in this webinar series. There are 4 components, as I've already referred to, and this is the end of the introductory webinar. Emotional intelligence is broken down into self-awareness, self-control, relationship management, and social awareness. Self-awareness. Do you really know how you are emotionally or how other people see you emotionally? How well do you control those emotions? Relationship management. Do you use your emotions, your self-control and self-awareness, to manage effectively and engage effectively other people? And social awareness. Just how aware are you of the group dynamic? How aware are you of the feelings and the emotions of the environment? One of the great things about emotional intelligence, and if you are participating outside of Emotional Intelligence 2.0, the book, that is a great book to have because it has a test. More than likely, if you're participating in this webinar series, we have provided you a copy of the book, or we are going to provide you a copy of the book after the overview. So you can take the self-assessment. That self-assessment will give you literally scores for each one of these 4 critical areas. But what's beautiful about it is it also gives you the ability to train. It'll send you email updates. It will give you reminders so that you can improve in some of those areas that you may not be that good in. You know the mantra, knowledge isn't power. Oh, here's my scores. I'm really good at self-awareness. I'm really bad at relationship management. Now that I know it, everything's better. No, it's not. You need to take advantage of the fact that you have great self-awareness, and you need to leverage that by focusing a little bit externally on how you take that self-awareness and you interact with other people, how you do that mirror to be effective emotionally. And Emotional Intelligence 2.0, the book, that is designed to be used in conjunction with this webinar series, will do exactly that for you. So these are the 4 areas of emotional intelligence that we will be digging down much deeper in the upcoming webinar for this webinar series. My name is John Gregory Vincent. The company is the Genesis Group, as you well know. You know how to get in touch with us, gconsultinggrp.com. Thank you for participating in this introductory webinar or watching this introductory webinar. We look forward to you participating in the full series because emotional intelligence, when combined with crucial conversations and an understanding of personalities, is really the trifecta of effective communication, which is the only way to get to synergetic teams and a positive work environment. Thanks for watching. We're going to close this presentation now. You get the, oh my goodness. I was thinking something that I'm not going to say. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your participation. And remember, the Genesis Group, we maximize human capital. It's all we do.